Welcome to Fusion 5 Radio with your host, Fusion 5 CEO, Rainee Busby.
We are back, of course, and like I promised, I'm going to let loose Rainee Busby and do the lesson of the day. Now, you're talking about processes. So, and I know last time I gave you an intro, you missed all the, the drum roll and the
glamour.
The glamour of it all.
But then you recovered.
I did. Well, thank you.
No, that's really not necessary.
Okay,
It's just easy.
ready for this stuff? I'm going to do it again.
Is it a new one?
Well,
Little change? No?
ladies and gentlemen. There we go. It sounds like I'm about to start a race when I do that. It never rains.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Folks, I really want you to take notes. I want you to listen. I really want to encourage you to go to our website and listen to this again. Rainee is going to be sharing with us about the process that you need to know about in business and in life, of course. And right now, here is my friend, Rainee Busby.
Why, thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, so what in the world is a process? So I want you to think about processes as kind of, we also refer to it sometimes as a workflow. It's a way we do things. It's a way we get from step A all the way to step B and all the little mini steps in between, or little tasks that we need to do. So you live it every day. You probably just aren't aware of it. But when you're in business and you don't have clarity of processes, or maybe one or two people understand how to do the business, but then it's not documented, so no one else knows how to do it. So if they're on vacation, then all of a sudden we're like, do we do step D first, or maybe step E? Or we start to get a lot of confusion. So some examples I'd like to give to you so you can kind of see how you can take this learning into your own life and help it be more efficient, or into your business as well. So there is a dependency. Sometimes what we find is that we can't start the next step until the prior step is completed. And you see that a lot of times in manufacturing businesses. They have to do, if a widget is going from machine to machine to machine to machine, it has to go through that process in the exact order. It can't be skipped around. If it's skipped around, all of a sudden everything stops. So that's an example of processes that's very important in part of the business. So here's some examples of how you live it day to day. So let's think about, let's say getting kids ready for school in the morning. There's a good one you can all relate to. What are all the steps you go through? If you really thought about it, and for the ladies out there that usually get the kids up and going in the morning, let's say you decide to go on vacation, or you're out for the day on a ladies' trip, and dad steps in to take care of getting the kids ready for school. And I bet you all have some funny stories to talk about that, or vice versa if the roles changed, because we probably don't have the process or workflow documented. But it would be steps like wake the children up, get the breakfast prepared, make sure they get dressed in the appropriate attire that's going to work for school, right? Make sure we eat our breakfast. Do they need lunch money, or do they need to have their lunch prepared? Let's make sure that gets taken care of. Are there notes or permission slips that need to be reviewed or written or signed? Do they have their homework? Is their homework in their backpack? Oh, do they even have their backpack? Or do we have shoes on our feet? Okay, loading everyone in the car or taking them to the bus stop and then dropping them off at school. And heaven forbid you don't drop them off in the wrong area at school, because then you will get a scolding from the teacher out there that's monitoring the traffic flow. Now that's an example of a workflow. That's an example of a process. And it's important to have that documented. Now, as a parent, you probably have it in your mind and don't think twice about it. But, it's when you go grocery shopping. Where are we going to go? How much are we going to spend? Do we need to collect any coupons or get our ads ready beforehand? Do we need to make a grocery list? Or maybe we want to come up with some recipes to help us build this list. What day of the time is best to go? So that's another example. In business, we do the same thing. It's like, how do we find our customers? How do we service our customers? Well, once we write a contract and the customer agrees that they're ready to buy our products or services, then we have to get clarity on what they want. Then we have to say, when are we going to deliver it? How are we going to deliver it? Is there going to be any special items or services that they're going to need? How much are we going to charge them for that? Then we have to invoice them once we do deliver, right? So heaven forbid we deliver the product and service and then just forget to invoice. And it happens. You might think not, but I will tell you, I've heard it so many times. Or we send out an invoice and then we forget to collect. So they end up not paying the invoice, or they're like, hey, did you guys want to get paid for the products? We got 100 widgets you sent us, but we never got an invoice. You're like, oh my goodness. Right then, that's an example of a process that broke, and that process can cost you money. So processes are in place to help us to do things better, to be more streamlined, to be more efficient. It can save us money. It helps us improve our customer service. Quality is going to be very important. So if you deliver a low quality product, that's because you might have missed a step in the process. Maybe we have someone that makes sure things are following back up with that customer saying, how was the service we delivered? How can we do it better? Right? These are going to be very important. It also helps us work better with others. So if you have 2 or 3 people involved in one process or one workflow, that person needs to know, when are you going to be finished, so I know when to pick up, and when do I hand off, and who do I hand off to, and how do I hand that off, right? So that's very important. Also, you may have certain templates that you like to use, or certain documents, for example, that you want to make sure when you're ready to send an invoice, it always has to be on this template. So this is an example of what our invoice looks like, because it has our logo and everything on it. So, consistency and delivery. We always know that based on if we follow our process or our workflow, we know it takes us 5 days to make one widget. And so we're able to start to calculate how many widgets we're going to need, how fast do we need to make them, and then when can we deliver the product to the customer. So those are some pretty simple ways for us to really measure our performance overall as a company, and also the performance of our individual employees or people that are in your committee. If they're not following up the way they're supposed to be, or if they're not getting 5 widgets done, they're only getting 4 widgets done, then we know we got a problem. Maybe they need some extra training, or maybe it's just not a good job for them. Maybe they need to look at a different kind of a job. And so I kind of wanted to wrap up by talking a little bit about how we can get some structure in these processes or get them documented. And many times companies do not have them documented. They're in the brains of the business owners. They're in the brains of people that are working there. And if they went on vacation or something happened, then all of a sudden we've got some people that are just don't really understand how we run the business. This happens a lot. If a husband would pass away and all of a sudden the wife has a business, she goes, I don't know the first thing about the business. Sad thing is, nor does anyone else that works there, because he knew how to do everything and we didn't have it documented. So I recommend a tool. We use a tool called Author. It's happy to give you any kind of information. It's very easy to use. It helps you clarify roles and responsibilities, and it kind of uses what they call a swim lane. So you can see if this is, here's Joe, here's the things, the tasks or workflows that Joe's involved in, and then you can easily say, here's the document that Joe needs to use to do that task. So I highly recommend you look at some sort of a tool, even if you just write down your list. It's better than, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it can be a list on a piece of paper, but at least do it. That's what's most important.
I agree that, because it is important to have a process and something to go by. It's a measure of sorts that you can get things accomplished. I really, it's really kind of neat being able to share these things with folks, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll make a difference. And, I'm a big step process person. I love checklists too. Boy, just give me a piece of paper. I make my list out every day. I know what I'm going to do, and I know in what order I'm going to do them, because I also do it by priority.
Right.
But for me, that's how I'm going to be most efficient, because I know that this is my most important customer that I need to talk to first, because I've already committed to a delivery for them.
It's almost like, on your list, it's as simple as when you go to the grocery store, you don't put ice cream at the top of the list. No, you wait until you're done, before you go get the ice cream, because it's going to melt by the time you get out of the store.
Or what's worse, going to the store hungry without a list.
Oh, that could be devastating.
And then you have the chips and the candy bars and the ice cream and all the goodies in there, and then you get home and you're like, I don't think we have any real food.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work extremely well on that.
That's an example of where our process, that we should probably add on that process I was talking about, eat before you go to the grocery store. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's another one.
I think so.
Well,
without a doubt.
I did put what time of the day is best.
Right.
That would be it.
Hey.
Not just before the dinner hour, right?
I know. That makes sense. Hey, I do have one last scripture I want to share with you because it really goes with everything we're doing. Be careful what you think because your thoughts run your life.
Yes.
It's a simple little thing, and
it.
it's very true, and it's in Proverbs 4:23. But it's true. Be careful what you think, and that's the process. If you put your thoughts down and how it should go, it's going to run your life, isn't it?
We are signing off. Thanks so much. Be blessed. We'll see you all next week.
Join us next week. Fusion5radio.com. Write to us. Join us next week